Chicago Bulls lose their first game of the preseason, but there's a lot to like coming out of it. We'll talk about it right after this. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome back to Whole Lot of Bull. I'm Troy. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Troy, but more importantly, you can follow the show at Whole Lot of Bull. All right, so the Chicago Bulls have lost their first game of the NBA's preseason, going down 127 to 121 to the Milwaukee Bucks at the United Center today. But to be honest, quite a lot to like coming out of this game. Now we saw in the first two games against the Cleveland Cavaliers that the Bulls started off very sloppy turnovers. Things just weren't flowing very well. Now, while the Bulls on the scoreboard got off to a slow start, it wasn't due to a lack of sloppiness and turnovers. The turnovers in this game were actually a whole lot better in this game. Now, the Bulls have been averaging 24 turnovers in these first two games against the Cavaliers. Today, just the 10, which is a massive improvement on what's been going on. And like even credit to the basically the two-way guys, the end of the guys on the bench, like Lockie Ulbrich, uh, Mo Gay, Emmanuel Miller, Noah Essengay, Javon Carter, who the guys that were finishing out this game, they didn't turn the ball over either, which is great to see. Now, to me, what was the struggle for the Bulls in this game? And frankly, again, the caveat being at preseason, don't read too much into it because it's about also just getting into the flow of things, getting into rhythms. But ultimately the 3-point shooting that let it down for the Chicago Bulls, going 11 of 41 from beyond the arc in this game, shooting just a smidge under 27%. Whereas the Milwaukee Bucks, being the league's best 3-point shooting team last season, they go 20 of 48 for 40, just under 42% from beyond the arc. So Milwaukee shooting the lights out. Chicago not hitting struggling pretty badly from beyond the arc. Collectively as a group, Javon Carter himself goes 3 of 12. I mean, like I know I've said this before for it. I've said it before, and a few of us have said it as well. It may be the preseason, but we don't need to see Javon Carter out here. Hopefully, that's only because of Kobe White being out that we're seeing Javon Carter minutes. But I don't really want. I mean, I'd rather see Dalen Terry play the point guard. Now, obviously, in this game, in the third quarter, Dalen Terry did get ejected for having a little bit of a scuffle there with Torian Prince. Is it Terry went, attacked the basket and got wrapped up by Prince, and yeah, things kind of escalated from there. Terry was ejected for supposedly throwing a punch at Torian Prince, but there was no punch thrown whatsoever. He just tried to reach out to grab him. So if that's an attempted punch these days, and a lot of players are going to be getting thrown out throughout the course of the season. Now, one of the positive signs for this game for the Bulls as well was their ability to get to the free throw line in this game. 36 free throw attempts. They made 26 of those to go to 72%. So you like to see that number up a little bit higher, up at least 75%. Whereas Milwaukee Bucks, they go 17 of 23 from the free throw line for 74%. So not much difference there in the free throw percentage. Obviously in the volume, like the Bulls making more free throws than Milwaukee even attempted. So it was good to see like the aggressive side of things there. And then looking at the foul count, remember in the first quarter of the last game, Chicago put Cleveland into the bonus situation within 2.5 minutes of the first quarter. Did not have that issue today. You see Chicago finishing with a total of 21 fouls total, whereas Milwaukee committed 28. Um, so the Bulls throughout this preseason, they talk about they wanted to be a more physical defensive team. and obviously they've had to try and develop that fine line of being physical without stepping over the mark and giving away silly fouls. So it looks like things are starting to progress for them throughout this preseason and training camp. Fixing up the turnover, like they've fixed up the turnovers. They're cutting back on these silly fouls and the physical fouls, and also as Stacey King mentioned in the broadcast as well. It's all about the Bulls making the referees also take notice that they are going to be a far more physical team than what they have been in the past. They don't have a reputation for being a physical side. But preseasons when you want to come out and show the NBA that we're going to be a far more physical team this season, and obviously just it's obviously it's still going to be a work in progress, but no, great positive signs there for the Bulls, reducing that foul count, reducing the turnovers. So there's a lot to like to come out of this game. Now, let's look over at the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, no one in this game for Milwaukee plays more than 24 minutes. That was Miles Turner. So he finishes with 19 points and 6 boards. Giannis, uh, 22 minutes of action, 6 of 10 from the field, 13 points, 10 rebounds. He did most of his scoring damage in one little spurt there in the second quarter, where he just went into typical Giannis mode and took over. But Giannis is going to be Giannis. He only gets one trip to the free throw line. Maybe it was two different trips on and ones. Uh, Gary Trent Jr. off. Starting for Milwaukee. 13 points. AJ Green, the sharpshooter for them, 11 points in the starting role. And Kevin Porter Jr. not really much of an impact for him. Kyle Kuzma off the bench for Milwaukee, 19 points. But that's enough about Chicago North. Now, obviously, no Kobe White again in this game in the preseason. Now, they did mention in the broadcast as well that maybe when Kobe does come back, potentially in that last preseason game against Minnesota and going into the regular season, that Kobe may be on a minutes restriction. Uh, Now that as they did mention on that broadcast as well, that's got nothing to do with the injury itself. He's had no setbacks whatsoever. It's more about just getting his game conditioning back on track. So good signs there for Kobe White that things are progressing quite well with that calf injury. Now Isaac Okoro, it again, like I've said a number of times since we got Isaac Okoro throughout this preseason so far, it's not about the offensive output that he's going to give us. It's all about his defense and the physicality he's going to bring. And he's just continued to do more of the same. Does end up with 4 fouls, through the first three. Now, same story again for Chicago as no one really playing any more than 24 minutes. The most that anyone played was Martis Buzelis at 24 minutes and 38 seconds. Now, for some whatever reason, on that last play of the game, Martis Buzelis was back in when Emmanuel Miller had to come out because he had a tooth knocked out from Andre Jackson Jr. So for some weird reason, Billy decides to put Martis in the game and throwing Jalen Smith in there. Like weird decision by Billy, but hey, Billy gonna Billy. So he plays the most minutes of the game now. Martis Buzelis, what can you say about this guy? He's showing why he's going to be the face of the franchise very soon. Finishes with 19 points, 6 of 11 from the field, 2 of 6 from beyond the arc. Does have the 4 rebounds. But no, Midas is looking really good now. A few times there. One of those things when I've spoken about with Midas coming into the preseason and training camp, and what I wanted to see Midas work on was just adding elements to his game. And like in year 3 is when he steps up and becomes the man on this team, like becomes that guy, as Joe Cowley likes to put it. And one of these things that you're starting to see from Midas Buzelis, who's added to his game, is more going to his left hand, not just like dribbling to his left hand, but finishing with his left hand. And a couple of times he did it there on Giannis Antetokounmpo. So no, that's one aspect of his game that he's looks like he's added in, now just to see more take guys off the dribble, creating his own shots, which, he's done in this game in this game as well. So, he's adding elements to that game, which is, great to see. Nikola Vucevic is back for this game after resting in the last game. 24 minutes. He only finishes with his 6 points, but does have 9 rebounds and 3 assists. 3 of 10 from the field, misses all 4 3-point attempts. And for those who don't know, I stay when it's game day, once the tip off comes along, I stay off of social media until I've watched the game myself. So, the game started at 10:30 a.m. Adelaide time. It's now quarter to 9 at night, at the time of this recording, so you guys get a bit of an idea of how long it how far behind I'm watching the game, just because the sheer the time zones and what time the games are on as opposed to what time I actually get home and watch the game. I stay off social media. I don't wanna know what's happened. And one of the things I saw on Twitter leading up to the tip off was people talking about why is Nikola Vucevic still on this team. Vucevic is still a good player. He just is. He's gonna get his numbers. He's gonna get his, 16, 18 points. He's 10, 12 rebounds. And yes, he's a guy that I have said routinely over the offseason that the Bulls do need to move on from Nikola Vucevic. They need more of a athletic rim protecting shot blocker who's a lob threat as well. A player that Nikola Vucevic is not. But what Nikola Vucevic is, he's still a good player at what he does. Now in this game, struggling from the field with the caveat again, it is preseason. All right. So all of these guys are still trying to get into rhythm, in game rhythm, shooting the ball. It's one thing to be taking all these shots in practice in scrimmages, 5-on-5s when you're playing against each other. It's another thing to actually get into a rhythm, playing actual games against actual opponents and not your own teammates. So, and Nikola Vucevic is, notorious for getting off to slow starts in his seasons. So, looking at these numbers, 3 of 10 and all of 4 from beyond the arc, I'm not concerned whatsoever about Nikola Vucevic's shooting. That will come around as he's starting to get into as all of these players starting to get into more, not just game shape, but game rhythm. All right. So remember, it's preseason, guys. If any of you guys are going crazy now, I'm going to catch up on Twitter after I've recorded this episode, see what everyone said after this game. But if anyone's bitching and moaning about players shooting like shit in a preseason game, I'll preface it now by saying just shut the fuck up and calm down. Trey Jones in this game, he finishes with 8 points, 4 rebounds and 6 assists. So Trey Jones just doing what Trey Jones does. He's not going to be that much of a scoring threat, but he does get to the free throw line 8 times, which is great to see. So brings his field goal attempts down to just 1 of 2, and misses his only 3-point attempt. But yeah, Trey Jones is going to be a great backup to Josh Giddey. And clearly he's got the trust of Billy Donovan in this game. So Josh Giddey plays 24 minutes as himself, and as Josh Giddey is going to do all season long, he flirted with another triple double. So 4 of 7 from the field, goes 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. So Josh, Josh had a couple of free throws roll out, bounce out on him, but does need to get that percentage up. Like in this game, okay, on 8 attempts, 62.5%. He needs to be making 6 or 7 of those free throws, but finishes with 8 boards and 7 assists. Does have a block in there as well. And a big thing in this one as well that people need to look at, no turnovers. All right. Whereas Trey Jones, he had 3 turnovers. Patrick Williams had 4. So seven of the Bulls' 10 turnovers came from 2 players, Patrick Williams and Trey Jones. So yeah, Josh Giddey, no turnovers, and to go with his 14 points. So these, he gets his 14 points. You expect that throughout the course of the season, on average, it's going to be about 16, 18. and expect that those assist and rebound numbers to be around the same, if not just that little bit higher. So yeah, he's going to be flirting with a triple double every single night. Um, Whereas Stacey King's probably expects him to. He said in the broadcast he expects him to hover around that 20 triple double mark this season. I would call that accurate, if not more. To be perfectly honest. Aya Sumu, love this guy. There's not a honestly, there's not a bad thing I can actually ever say about Aya Sumu. This guy is just an absolute gun. Um, he's going to be that perfect six man for the Chicago Bulls. I know a lot of Bulls fans are screaming out there that he should be starting at the three position. Leave him as the six man. This is honestly probably a perfect role for him. Off the bench in just under 24 and 20, let's call it 25 minutes of action, 22 points. He does have just the 3 rebounds and 2 assists, 8 of 12 from the field, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc. But it's just Io getting downhill and creating, getting to the bucket at will, gets to the free throw lines 5 times, makes all five. I'd assume it being I'd assume it. There's not a bad thing I can say about this dude. Another kid from Chicago. Give that man his money. At the end of the year, if he wants to or has to wait until next off season, pay the man. Patrick Williams in this game, 23 and a half minutes. Looking, Patrick Williams is looking like there's definitely a pulse there, and maybe he's found a nice role there off the bench, finishing this game with 10 points, 5 assists, does have the 4 turnovers, as I mentioned earlier, 1 steal, 3 fouls, but here's a number, and I'll leave this one to last. So he goes 4 of 7 from the field, and 2 or 3 from beyond the arc. But the big number here that I want to highlight for Patrick Williams, because this is a statistic that a lot of Bulls fans have complained about with Patrick Williams throughout the course of his career. He's rebounding. 8 rebounds for Patrick Williams in this game. This is what he should have been doing as a starter when he was at that power forward position throughout the course of his career. This is what we've expected from him. Now, a lot of people can say, "Oh, they're just cheap, fake rebounds." You know, Casual Kelder has said that about Josh Giddey with his fake rebounding. I'm sorry, there's no fake rebounding in this game. Like, if your team doesn't get the rebound, you're giving up another offensive rebound, and the other team gets another possession. There's now people might say, "Oh, well, it's a fake rebound because everyone's just cleared off and gotten back on, like the offensive team's gotten back on defense, and it just falls to a player." At the end of the day, you still got to rebound the ball. I'm sorry, there's no such thing as a fake rebound. So you can miss me with that one. And if you want to go about with fake rebounds, well, I saw hey Kelda, I saw Trey Jones get a couple of those ones that just fell to him when everyone else got back on defense. So are they fake rebounds because Trey Jones got them? Think not. All right, Zach Collins in this game, doing what Zach Collins does. He's just a tough, hard nosed player in this game. He's going to get physical. Eight points in this game, makes all 4 of his field goal attempts. Only the 2 rebounds. Does have 3 assists and a steal in this game. Dalen, now as I mentioned earlier, Dalen Terry getting ejected for that little scuffle with Torian Prince. The ejection was just bullshit. I think the referees have just completely misinterpreted what happened there. If anyone's should have got ejected, it was Torian Prince, who actually hit Dalen Terry in the face. In the replays there. All right, the bald-headed hoe. Shout out Hayes. 20 minutes of action, 4 of 17 from the field, including 3 of 12 from beyond the arc. Yeah, Javon Carter was getting up his shots. Finishes with 12 points, 3 assists, gets a steal and a rebound. That's enough about Javon Carter. Nora Senge, 13 minutes off the bench, 5 points, 2 boards and assists, 3 steals to go in this game. Noah Senge showed now he came into this game quite early. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if it was the first call, maybe it was early in the second. But he showed some great signs defensively and showed, that's what he's going to do to get some minutes in the regular rotation for Chicago. And honestly, almost at this point, if this is the type of thing that Noah Osenge is gonna um, show us, I might have him in the rotation ahead of Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips already. Um, Now, he's definitely gonna spend some time in the G League. That's just a given at this point. But don't I don't know, man. Like, I don't think it's gonna be very long until Noah Osenge's uh gotten ahead of DT and JP in the rotation, because I think he's gonna earn it with his defense. Plus that length and athletic ability. I mean, we'll have to see what Phillips looks like when he comes back from that injury. But, yeah, don't be shocked if he's, passing those guys up in the rotation, sooner rather than later. Jalen Smith, as you get down towards the end of the bench, 7 minutes played, 3 of 3 from the field, hits his only three-point attempt, has 7 points, only 1 rebound, and not really much to speak about with Emmanuel Miller, Mo Gay, and Lockie Ulbrich. Um, yeah, ultimately just the two-way players there, the Windy City Bulls, just closing out the game now. Obviously, this is how we treat preseason basketball. Not really worried about the end result. It's about the process with the main guys, and then get them out. These guys played through the first 3 quarters of the game. Obviously, don't play this normal regular starter minutes, but no starters played in the fourth quarter whatsoever for both teams. Until Martis Buzelis came in for those last, what, 10, 15 seconds, whatever it was, to end the game. But yeah, my big takeaways and positives for this game for the Bulls: cutting down on turnovers. Patrick Williams cutting off ball. That's another thing I didn't mention with Patrick Williams as well. We saw that. Um, can't remember who. It was a couple of times he made some nice off ball cuts to the basket, and not sure if they both led to baskets, for the Bulls, but it's good to see Patrick Williams recognizing when to cut off ball. There was one with Josh Giddey where they kind of did the old, what Josh Giddey did and what Lonzo Ball used to do was, Zach LaVine cutting baseline for the dunk. So Patrick Williams, he finished the dunk. Let's celebrate. Um, but yeah, and it wasn't the only time he did a nice little back cut there as well. So Patrick Williams is showing some signs of life. So if this is the Patrick Williams we're going to get throughout the course of the season, maybe he may just end up earning some of that $18 million, not all of it, maybe 10 to 12 million of it, if this is what we're going to get out of Patrick Williams, um, for the season. But yeah, getting to the free throw line, cutting down on turnovers, cutting down on the silly fouls. These were some positives to take out of this game for the Chicago Bulls, as we head into it, as we get closer towards the regular season. Now, coming up next for the Bulls is the Denver Nuggets in Denver. I believe that game is on Tuesday night Chicago time. It's Wednesday morning here in Adelaide, in the down in the beautiful South Australia here in the land of Oz. So that's 11:30 a.m. tip off for me. So I believe that's what 7:30 Chicago time. So that is over in Denver. And then they have the last game of the preseason on was it on be on Friday, um, against the Timberwolves in Chicago. So yeah, looking forward to, how things continue to progress for the Bulls for the rest of the preseason as we head into the regular season opener against the Detroit Bitches. But yeah, so let me know in the comments down below, what did you take away from this game? What were the positives that you took away? Do you agree with what I was saying with the turnovers and the fouls, getting to the free throw line? Now, again, as I mentioned before, the 3-point shooting numbers not great. 11 of 41 for 27%. Getting into game rhythm. So just that's something just to remember as well. If that's it, if, if we're looking at those numbers, 15, 20 games into the season, and or 10, maybe even 5 to 10 games into the regular season, then we can start questioning what's going on with the ball shooting. But in preseason, I'm not worried about the percentages. I'm worried about the process, not the result. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Whole Lot of Bull. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We did hit over 100 subscribers last week. So I appreciate everyone who has subscribed. If you haven't, but like I just mentioned, if you haven't already, please do so to help the channel grow. And until next time, Bulls Nation, see red, be good.